Hey everybody, Rebecca back for the next episode of the Quintuple M. Today is episode 63. This is from Mr. Money Mustache's blog post from November 21st, 2011. This one is titled, The Connection Between Trash and Stache. As always, link to this article is in the description box below. If you would like to take a look at the whole thing, take a look at the comments that people posted about this blog post, and check out Mr. Money Mustache's website. Link is below. Let's see what truth bombs Mr. Money Mustache has got for us today. I've noticed a little pattern recently, and I thought it would fit right in with the things we learn about here in Money Mustache School, so I'd like to share the story with you. Tuesday is garbage day in my neighborhood, and that means everyone will be rolling out the enormous 96-gallon bins provided by the city down to the curb. Most of these will be quite full, with about a quarter of them so full that the hinged lid pokes up at an angle as if in a big dumb salute to ultimate wastefulness. If you've never seen a 96-gallon plastic container, it is quite a sight to behold. You could easily hide the entire Mr. Money Mustache family in one of these things, or several hundred pounds of various kinds of waste. If you filled it with water, it would weigh 800 pounds. When I'm in the middle of a construction project, I find that I can fit an entire bathroom's worth of renovation debris into the thing easily. Although the sheer size and weight of this container would take two strong people to lift when it's full, my city's able to empty thousands of them per day thanks to a fleet of very sturdy tractor-trailer trucks with hydraulic robot arms on their curb-facing side. The truck roars up to your house and brakes aggressively to a stop, and the robot arm effortlessly picks up the 200-pound container as if it were made of styrofoam, hoists it 16 feet in the air and dumps it into the top of the truck, then slams it back to the curb. Then the truck's 400 horsepower turbo diesel engine goes straight to full throttle and accelerates the 30,000-pound load of truck and trash for a few seconds before burning the energy back into the brakes and stopping at your next door neighbor's house to repeat the process. This cycle repeats all day, every day, since it takes 7 days to make the rounds of the city, by which time it is time to begin anew. Other than my occasional guilty habit of generating construction debris by renovating other people's houses, I find that the 96-gallon container would hold between 3 and 6 months worth of our normal household trash. In fact, as a way of saving the 30,000-pound truck some gas, I only put our container out to the curb when it gets full, which is once per season or once per construction project, whichever comes first. Expressed as weight rather than volume, I've measured our total trash at 2 to 10 pounds per week. The average individual person in the US generates 22 pounds per week, meaning you'd expect our family of 3 to be rolling 66 pounds to the curb every Tuesday. So when comparing both weight and volume to our neighbors and the EPA website above, we seem to be throwing out about 90% less stuff than normal. What gives? First of all, Mr. Money Mustache is not a holy zero trash saint like the no impact man. I often get ribbed from my own readers in the comments about leading a relatively decadent life. On the other hand, it does annoy me every time I have to heave something I bought into that big black bin, and this definitely affects my spending patterns. I try not to buy things if I can foresee any part of them ending up in the trash. Since I feel unhappy when throwing things out, I become happier when I avoid this activity. And thus, it is yet another way buying less stuff ends up building happiness, which luckily happens to be perfectly aligned with becoming financially independent as well. Y'all, I relate to that in a big way. I am so far away from even Mr. Money Mustache levels of waste production, but I seriously visualize every time I throw anything away. I think about the monetary value of that thing, and it doubly bothers me when it comes to food waste. We aren't perfect, but whenever we have to throw some food away, I try to estimate in my head how much did we just throw away in the trash. And that really does bother me because your 3 big expenses in life are food, housing, and transportation, right? So anytime I throw away food, that really, truly bothers me. Not to mention, so many people in this country and in the world struggle with hunger every day. So that's a double guilt whenever I throw food out. Anyway, continuing on. With that justification, I now present Mr. Money Mustache's top 4 ways to build stash while reducing trash. Number 1, think carefully before making purchases that will end up in the trash. Very carefully. Disposable diapers for your baby? Forget it. Cloth diapers are just as easy, $1,000 cheaper per child, and 1,000 times better for the environment. Can't speak to that, don't have any youngins myself. Paper or styrofoam cups and plates for that picnic or dinner party? Give me a break. Use your real damn dishes and then smile when you wash them instead of crying when you have to throw them out. Packages from products you buy, maybe for the first year after you buy your home, but after that you really don't need many products, especially since your products will come mostly from Craigslist, where someone else took care of the package for you. Fast food packaging, stop making me laugh so hard because it has become difficult for me to aim my fist properly at your face. Number 2, recycle what can be recycled. This isn't a perfect solution, so you shouldn't feel great about having a full recycling bin. But at the same time, it is obvious that you will end up with some bottles, jars, and cans from leading a modern and convenient life, and these things must never end up in a trash can regardless of where you are. And obviously, none of these will be bottled water containers or other frivolous things that could have been obtained without packaging if you thought about it properly, right? Larger chunks of metal, like old patio furniture, lawnmowers, appliances, or water heater tanks, can either be brought to a local scrap metal company, which may even pay you for them, or donated to the recycled building materials store. Number 3, food waste is not garbage. As heavy garbage producers read the introduction to this article, they probably thought, man, I could never let my garbage can sit for 2 months before emptying it. It would stink to high heaven. But while my own trash is not a pretty sight, it still doesn't actually stink very much, and that's because it's just the little plastic wrappers and lids and chunks of styrofoam that aren't accepted by the recycling company. Where do my apple cores and banana peels and coffee grounds go? Into the compost pile, of course. If you live in a house rather than an apartment, you should be composting all of your food along with your leaves and garden scraps. Look it up. It's literally as simple as choosing a corner of your yard and throwing everything into a pile. My mom taught me this when I was just a tiny boy, and I have followed the tradition for my entire life. It turns into rich soil very quickly, which you use in your garden. Mrs. Money Mustache just harvested 5 wheelbarrow loads of black gold from our compost pile last week to make more gardens. If you are fancy or have problems with animals snooping in your compost pile, you can upgrade it to a box or barrel. So that solution is a very viable solution, and that is something that I do want to start doing whenever my hubs and I get done moving into our forever home. I'm trying not to accumulate a whole lot more stuff that needs to be moved because, you know, ideally, eventually, sometime, we are going to build our forever home once we find some land and build a house. So I'm trying to minimize the stuff that we would need to move, and with our dogs and living out in the country like we do, we would have to have one of those barrel types of compost bins. Anyhow, number 4, messy families like mine benefit from cloth napkins. A few years ago, I noticed that a big portion of our remaining garbage was white paper napkins used to wipe faces and tables and countertops after various eating and spilling activities. Then I noticed that the local New Orleans style restaurant just had a little box of rectangular pieces of scrap fabric on each quaint tabletop instead of paper napkins. Eventually we put 2 and 1 together and cut up a bunch of attractive fabric scraps to make our own napkin supply. And since then we've never bought a paper towel or napkin, although I'm still working my way through a roll or 2 that were left over from that era for really oily stuff like bacon grease. Y'all, I'm gonna have to email Mr. Money Mustache. You should not be wiping up bacon grease. Hopefully he just means splatter here, but if you have leftover bacon grease, put that shit in a jar and put it in your fridge and cook with it, all right? That is pure gold when it comes to flavor in your cooking. You're welcome. Continuing on. On the surface, these may just sound like trash-saving techniques, but I find it's more powerful than that, and there is a positive stash component as well. A mustachian's wealth comes in equal parts from being an optimistic producer who earns a great income and from being a stubbornly efficient user of this income who refuses to see it go to waste in such an obvious way as the big black bin. Yes, especially that last part there. Y'all, we live in a throwaway society, and he's right about recycling. Y'all, it takes a lot of energy to even recycle things. So all of this relates to financial independence. You know, that's another huge reason I love Mr. Money Mustache, is because he has this whole save the world aspect to his writing as well. You know, it's not just about reducing your expenses, growing your income, and investing the difference to reach financial independence. It's about reducing your waste and reducing your impact on the environment and the planet as a whole. That just makes you feel good. It's about being happy, right? And if you're able to reduce that carbon footprint, reduce your waste, that's gonna make you a happier person. So this is just another reason why I love Mr. Money Mustache and why I like to do these from week to week. All of his articles that I share with you are ones that I particularly like, that I think really are thought-provoking. So I had to share this one. And I am definitely not perfect when it comes to the waste aspect of our lives. Everybody could always get better. We definitely have room for improvement ourselves in this household. So let me know down in the comments below, are you waste focused in your household? Is this a part of your FIRE plan? Reducing waste is a way to save on your expenses, right? The more you save, the more money you'll have left over to invest and grow that wealth. And the more you reduce your expenses, the less wealth you need in order to reach financial independence. So it's a double whammy. Y'all, everything adds up. Every little thing makes a difference. All right, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Quintuple M. I may try to do something a little different and put all my bloopers here at the end of this video, because for some reason I just could not get my words out today when I was trying to read this article to y'all. So I don't know, I'll put all the bloopers at the end so that way y'all know why these videos are so choppy sometimes. I have to cut out a lot of stuttering and southern drawl, can't get my words out right. All right, I'll catch y'all next Monday for the next episode of the Quintuple M. Oh, and just to follow up for last week where I was talking about, you know, being concerned about getting a copyright strike with these videos, I thought that maybe copyright strikes were for monetized channels only. Turns out they're not. Thanks to Q for letting me know when he had one on his channel a while back. So I've been doing these for a long time now. This is episode 63. So I've been doing these videos over a year now. I do one a week, and I've never gotten a copyright strike. So I'm just going to continue on with the format that I have been doing. If and when I reach that 1,000 subscriber threshold and get monetized on this channel, if they start copyright striking me then I will of course take them all down. Also, if I ever hear back from Mr. Money Mustache and he says, hey, I prefer you not do that on your channel, I'll take them all down then as well. But yeah, I've never gotten a copyright strike so far. I don't read these verbatim, the entire article every time. That's why I always link to it in the description box below. I do cut out some pieces of it, but yeah, anyway, I will just continue on doing the format that I have been doing. If it becomes a problem later, then these episodes will come down, unfortunately. So if y'all have been following them for a while now, consider yourselves lucky to have gotten the knowledge before it has to come down. So, all right, I'll catch y'all next week for the next episode. Thanks for watching, bye. And the robot arm effort